Good morning. Welcome back here on this Wednesday. We're still talking about balanced ecosystems, right? Please open to page 114 and 115 to keep score and follow along at home there. I know this isn't something that's new to you, but you got to understand in a balanced ecosystem. I know yesterday we talked about the chipmunk and what it needs. As long as the chipmunk has everything it needs, it's going to be healthy, it's going to be happy, and it's going to be able to reproduce, right? If it doesn't have what it needs, it's not going to. That's what an ecosystem needs to have. Same with this. If you can tell, like this family, they're going to have plenty of food. The Lord bless their crops. They're happy, right? They have exactly what they need to go on living, have a healthy, happy life, and reproduce. Without food, doesn't work that way. You guys remember how those food chains work. It starts with the sun, because plants get their energy from the sun, then herbivores get their energy from the plants, and then carnivores get their energy from the herbivores. Well, we have the sun starting off this food chain, but if you notice, no plants. Remember what we talked about. If you take the plants out of a food chain, it destroys the whole rest of the food chain. It just crumbles because herbivores can't survive without plants, and carnivores can't survive without eating herbivores. So plants are necessary for the food chain. And again, same with this. If there's plenty of rain, plenty of plants, there's going to be plenty of herbivores, which means there's going to be plenty of carnivores, and they're all going to have a nice balanced ecosystem because there's plenty to go around. The herbivores aren't fighting over just a little spot of plants. They have enough, right? Which means there's enough herbivores for the carnivores to eat. They don't have to be too picky. They can eat what they can find. And so animals are thriving. They're reproducing. They're having babies. Doesn't work so well when you take plants out of the food chain, right? You gotta have everything you need for them to be balanced, or else animals are either going to die from starvation, or they're going to move into a different ecosystem, and that could imbalance that ecosystem. Now, we've seen this video before, right? I should say these pictures. There's always competition for prey. We remember that food web where it's not just a rabbit only has to worry about hawks. No. Rabbit has to worry about hawks and snakes and coyotes, amongst other things, right? All those three animals are competing to eat the rabbit. And so there's other competition. If this lion and this fox both want to eat this rabbit, that fox isn't going to win a foot race with the lion. The lion's going to win every time. So it has to be sly, it has to be slick, it has to be sneaky in order to get the rabbit. Maybe this fox was laying in the weeds here while this mountain lion kind of scared the rabbit in there, and then the fox literally had the rabbit come straight to it. Smart way to do it. There's other examples where the competition maybe isn't so fierce. Now, this hawk wants to eat this rodent. Well, that owl wants to eat the rodent too. They both want to eat the same thing, amongst other things. You know, rodents, squirrels, rabbits, they both eat all that stuff. But if you notice something about the pictures, you can see why, yes, they compete for the same animals, but they don't have direct competition, meaning they're not competing at the same time of day. If you know about hawks, these guys are awake during the day. They hunt during the day. Owls are something that's called scientifically nocturnal. That means they sleep during the day and they're awake at night. Most humans are not nocturnal unless you have an uncle or something that has to work third shift. They sleep during the day and they work at night, right? Most animals are not nocturnal, but we do have a fair share of animals that are nocturnal, right? Owls are one of them. So they want the same kind of rodent here, the same squirrel, the same rabbit, but they don't have to directly compete with the hawk because owls are asleep when the hawk is hunting. And likewise, when the owl's hunting at night, the hawk is asleep. So yes, they're competing for the same things, but they compete at different times. Now you remember this, we talked about this. There's different niches, as they say scientifically in the world. Some animals are the hunter, generally the carnivores. Some animals are hunted, generally the herbivores. In a desert ecosystem, you got to remember how to keep it balanced, right? We have all these different animals and all this food web. The roadrunner wants to eat the bugs, or wants to eat the lizard, or wants to eat different things like that. Well, so do these hawks, and so do other animals. There's all this competition going on, and like this food web here shows, and so the animals need to compete for food in order to survive. As long as they have enough to go around, it's going to be a balanced, good ecosystem. But as we talked about last time, we have hawks, snakes, and coyotes all going for the same food. They all need to compete. If there's no herbivores to eat, some of these animals are going to die off, just like we're seeing here, right? All of a sudden, if the carnivores die off, not enough carnivores, well, the herbivores are going to be able to move in because there's not many things eating them, right? So we have more herbivores and more herbivores, and you might be able to see the seesaw, the teeter-totter balancing out because, oh, now there's enough herbivores to go around, so some carnivores move back in because there's more food. And hey, it's still nice and balanced, so there's more herbivores, which means more carnivores. More carnivores, and all of a sudden, okay, we're nice and balanced. But if all these carnivores are going to start eating all the herbivores, you can do the math. There's going to be less and less herbivores, right? And now we're getting back, okay, we had a lot of carnivores, oh, whoop, now we don't have as many herbivores. So we have all these carnivores, but there's not much to eat. Look, it's all going away because they're eating so much. So if there's less herbivores, there's all of a sudden going to be less carnivores because they're literally going to starve to death, or they're going to move out to find some other ecosystem where they can find everything that they need. So again, hardly any herbivores, which means the carnivores are dying off, and then all of a sudden we're starting to balance back out because less carnivores means herbivores can come back in and not get eaten as much, right? And so it's this constant balancing back and forth with the ecosystem that we go through. But as long as the animals have everything that they need, there's going to be a balanced ecosystem. Now you guys have a similar assignment from yesterday, but I am going to ask you guys to be doing this. Pages 114 and 115, you have 4 questions. I want you to answer them carefully. You should say read through them carefully, but write in full sentences, please. Don't just write a one-word answer. It says, what would happen to the animals in an ecosystem when there's a lot of food and a lot of plants to go around for each type of animal? There's lots of food to go around. Are they all going to die off? Are they all going to thrive and have babies and reproduce? That's what I'm kind of getting you guys to think about. If we have a nice balanced ecosystem, what happens? If we have an imbalanced ecosystem, what happens? So that's what I'm asking you to do for your assignment. Lord's blessings to you guys as you praise your Savior.